Hey guys, what's up? It's Howie, and today I'm going to review the Xbox One mini-series wired controller. Now, it is made by PowerA, which I never heard of them until now. But anyway, so this controller comes in green, blue, black, green. I don't know if I already said that. Sorry. Anyway, so these controllers do come in colored wires, cords. If you get the green one, of course, you'll get one in green. If you get one in blue, it'll come in with the blue wire, and black will come with black. So, anyway, let me get my Xbox One wireless controller to compare these two. So, this is the same thing as the Xbox One wireless controller. It has impulse triggers and dual rumble motors. Sorry, I might stutter a bit, guys. First thing you will notice is that the home button is in the middle, as of the Xbox One official controllers on the top. I like it a lot better on the wired controller because, you know, it hits close to home, because the 360's home button was right in the middle, and it's just a whole lot easier to press that. It's a lot more awkward to press this button right here at the top. That's just my opinion. But I do have to say, this controller does look pretty stylish. I mean, it has a black bottom, red top. I mean, I'll give it that, but it's a lot lower quality than the Xbox One official controller, and I think it's a lot lower quality than the 360 controller, and I'll tell you why. Number one, the D-pad. D-pad's plastic. It's a lot, feels a lot cheaper than the Xbox One's D-pad. The triggers, which is one of my main problems with this controller, they are not good at all. I'm sorry, I do not like these triggers one bit. They have some give to them, but you can just feel them when you press them down. As of the Xbox Ones, they're buttery smooth. You know, you don't even feel them. You know, when you press them down. If the impulse, the little motors in it are on, yeah, you'll feel it pressing down, because, you know, that's part of the controller. These have that too, but it just feels so gimmicky. It's not like the Xbox Ones. You know, they're so small, and you can just feel it when you press it down, even when the motors and the triggers are not working. But you know, even the Xbox 360 has a better trigger, I think. So, you know, that's one problem I have with it. Another major flaw with this controller is it has no jack for your headset at all. I mean, it even says right here on the box, not compatible with Xbox One accessories that require an expansion port. For device compatibility, see xbox.com/Xbox One/controller compatibility. And blah blah blah. That really sucks. And, you know, good thing I'm not going to be using this controller for my Xbox One. I'm going to be using it for my gaming computer, because I needed a gamepad or controller for some games. I know I could have bought the USB cord for the Xbox One controller, but, you know, I just wanted to have my own controller for my computer. So, you know, unfortunately, I won't be able to play any games with this just yet on my computer. But because I'm ordering a new 80 gigabyte RAM stick, and I haven't got it yet, so you know, I have to wait just a bit more. But anyway, so I will play some Xbox One games with this to see how I feel about, you know, first-person shooters with this controller, and Forza. I did play a bit of Forza already with this, and honestly, I can play Forza better with this controller than I can with this. But this controller just makes the game feel more realistic, if you know what I'm saying. This controller gives me more control, I would say. That's just my opinion. But, like, pressing on the gas and brake, I hate it. Again, I do not like the triggers on this controller. They're terrible in my opinion. So anyway, I'm going to show you me playing some games with this controller, and I'm also going to show you gameplay while I'm doing that. And so, yeah. Now, this controller is made for people with smaller hands. Now, if you do have bigger hands, you shouldn't have a problem playing with the controller. I mean, it's about the size of the PlayStation 3's controller, just a bit bigger, I'd say. So if you played with that before, you shouldn't have a problem with this. Now, like I said, I've played a few hours with it, and my hands never felt like they got cramped up. Now, keep in mind, I do consider my hands big, not like ginormous, but, you know, one problem I did run into is when I pressed the X or A button, I would accidentally press the right analog stick over. Not a biggie. I mean, it happens sometimes, and yeah, it doesn't feel like it's too small for me to play with. So guys with bigger hands, or girls with bigger hands, or anyone with bigger hands, you know, if you want to try out this controller, it's not like you're not going to be able to play with it. I mean, it's fine with me. Like I said, it's about the size of the PS3's controller, so shouldn't have a problem. So guys, I want to start with the pros and cons now, and the pros slash cons, the ones that I can't decide on really, and I'll let y'all decide. So the pros for me is the Xbox One guide button being in the middle, as of the Xbox One's is on the top. I like that a lot better. I know it's not much of a difference, but that's a pro for me. Also, the D-pad. The D-pad on the Xbox One mini series controller, it feels a lot better than the Xbox 360's D-pad. Trust me, we all remember the fuss about the 360 D-pad and how it doesn't even feel like a D-pad. At least this one does. Comparing it to the Xbox One wireless controller D-pad, now it doesn't beat it at all, but you know, I mean, this one's just fine. And now moving on to the cons. Yeah, I didn't cover that much pros, did I, guys? Sorry. So yeah, I got 3 major problems and another problem with this controller. So starting off with the major problem is this controller does not have a place for you to put your headset adapter. Yeah. So if you want to use your headset with this controller, sorry, you can't unless you have something wireless, like a wireless headset. Yeah, you're not going to be able to use your XO4s, your XO7s, or your stereo headset with this controller. So I'm sorry, it sucks. I know. I don't know why they didn't include anything with it, but it's nothing I can really do. And another problem is the bumpers and the triggers. Now, yeah, I know I said the bumpers on this one are a bit more responsive, but I gotta give it to the Xbox One wireless controller. I do like the bumpers on it better. They just feel a lot better. Yeah, these right here would be more responsive for some games on the mini series controller, but I just don't like them that much. And the worst problem about the controller, in my opinion, is the triggers. Some of you, it might not bother you, but for me, after playing with the Xbox One triggers, and they are the best triggers I've ever seen on a controller, buttery smooth. You don't even feel them when you press them down. These right here are a step back. I mean, I know this is not made by Microsoft, it's made by PowerA, but still, I know they have the rumble motors in them too, but they just feel really gimmicky, like I said, and you know, it's not at all comparable to the Xbox One triggers. These just feel very very cheap in my opinion. They have some give to them, but they're not smooth like the Xbox Ones. So yeah, that's one downside to it. And another con is the XY B and A. Now on the 360 and Xbox One controller, they look like they actually had their own physical form on top of, you know, the plastic button. So, you know, you can't rub off the X, Y, B, and A. As on this controller, it's just 4 buttons with them painted on top of it. So you could rub these off, just like you can on the PS3's and the PS4's controller. So, I don't know if you can on the PS4's controller. I haven't seen one. I actually haven't ever held a PlayStation 4 controller before, so, yeah. And another con about the controller is the price. I don't think $40 is a good price for this controller at all. I mean, after you've already heard what I've said, do you really think it's worth $40? Nah, and it's really light too. So, you know, I just don't think it's worth the price. I think $30 or $20 would have been just fine. $30 would have been perfect. Now, on the borderlines of pros and cons, this is for you to decide. This is stuff I don't really care about. The analog sticks are just a bit smaller on the mini series than it is on the Xbox One wireless controller. You won't notice it at first, but if you can put the two beside each other, you might be able to see it. Also, the handles on it are more protruding. They feel like a PlayStation 4 controller, or they look like a PlayStation 4 controller. Feel more like the 360's handles too, so, you know, I don't really care for it that much. And honestly, the style of the controller. Now, actually, I would conclude this into a pro for me, but, you know, I don't really care for it that much either. I mean, it's a controller. I don't really care what it looks like, to be honest with you. So, yeah, it has black on the bottom, and you can get them in, like, green, blue, red, black, and they come with, like, their own colored cords. So, I mean, I thought that's pretty cool. And they have Realtree controllers, too, which is camouflaged ones for the Xbox One. You know, they have, like, winter camo, wood camo, stuff like that. I think they have, like, 3 different kinds, and the analog sticks are colored, like, orange or bright green, or, you know, I done forgot what they look like. I was actually going to get one of those instead of this one, but they didn't have any, so, you know, hey, whatever. I think those are $44.99, and these are $39.99, so they're $5 more because they have camouflage on them. I don't know, guys. So, that about does the pros and the cons and the pros/cons. Now, I'll be honest with y'all, I think this controller was not just designed for people with small hands. I think it was also to the answer to the audience that doesn't like the way the Xbox controllers are designed by Microsoft. Look at the original Xbox controller. It was huge. It was bulky. Look at the 360 controller. It's, you know, it was smaller, but it was still bulky also. Pretty big. Heavy, too. And the Xbox One controller. They got wider and bulkier also. I mean, they're more of a slim design, but they're also wider and just look a lot more fatter than the 360 controller. So, yeah, I think it's more for the people that's used to PlayStation controllers. If they switch over to the Xbox, or they just want something that's smaller and not as bulky as the Xbox controllers. So, you know, if you're looking for a controller like that, this is definitely one you want to look at. Again, it doesn't have the features that the Xbox One wireless controller has. So, I mean, I wish it did, and, you know, it does have rumble motors and stuff like that, but they do feel very gimmicky. So, that's up to you. Now, to me, the analog sticks on the Xbox One mini series feel like the ones that are on the Xbox One wireless controller. I say this because, I mean, they're about almost the same size, except the ones in the mini series is a bit smaller. I mean, they're the same analog stick, but these right here are a little bit stickier, or, you know, stiffer, because it's a new controller. It'll take a while for it to break in. So if you buy this controller and you feel the analog sticks and you're like, no, these don't feel like the Xbox One analog sticks, please note that it's going to take a few days for them to break in. Remember, when you got your Xbox One controller, the analog sticks were sticky on it too, or, you know, kind of stiff. So, you know, it takes a few days for it to break in, or just, you know, maybe a few weeks of playing with it. So, yeah, that's the one thing about this controller that feels like it does on the Xbox One official controller. Now, I'm making this controller sound way worse than it really is. It's a good controller, don't get me wrong. I'm just comparing it to the Xbox One and Xbox 360 controller, and that's why it sounds so bad, is because the Xbox One controller has this it's like so many features, and, you know, it's just, it's an amazing controller, the best controller I've ever played with, not kidding you. And, you know, this is not a bad controller. The mini series Xbox One controller is not bad whatsoever. It's just comparing it to the Xbox One controller, it can't hold a candlelight up to it, in my opinion. And in some aspects, it can beat the 360 controller, like with the D-pad and the analog sticks. So, I want to show you all the features on the side of the box. Most of these are obvious. Apparently, it's nano-sized. It has dual rumble motors. Sorry, I'm going to slur my words. Apparently, it stops spawn camping. I don't know how. No, it says no spawn camping right there. I don't know. Impulse triggers. It has impulse triggers. No batteries required because it is wired, and almost a 10-foot long cable. So, yeah, just to sum up my review. Again, this controller's price is $39.99, which is $40. I do not think this is a fair price for this controller whatsoever. I think $30, maybe $20 would have been just fine. But it is a lower quality feeling controller from the official Xbox One controller, even the 360 controller. So, if you're just an Xbox One gamer and you just have an Xbox One, not a gaming PC, you know, if you want to check out this controller, that's fine and dandy. I do not recommend you paying $40 for this, though. Wait till it drops in price a little bit, because there are other alternatives, like the Play and Charge kit. I think I got the Play and Charge kit for like $25. I don't know if it was on sale or what, but pretty much all you do is you plug this up to your Xbox One controller and to your Xbox One console, and you got a wired controller. It also comes with like a chargeable battery pack, but I don't think anyone's going to really use that when you have this. So there are other alternatives. There's also other controllers besides this one, but I don't think they drop below $40, so, you know, you got your options here. So, you know, just please note, if you are an Xbox One gamer, or, you know, you just have an Xbox One, this does not have a headset jack right here, so you cannot use your headsets unless you have a wireless headset. If you have the XO4s, XO7s, or even the stereo headset, you're not going to be able to use them with this controller. So, you know, that's up to you. Me, myself, I do not recommend it if you do use headsets. But if you are a PC gamer and you're looking for a nice gamepad or a game controller, you know, maybe check this out. Again, I don't think it's worth the price. That's the reason why I got it. But, you know, it's not bad. I mean, I just wanted a separate controller from my Xbox One controllers to use for my gaming PC. So, you know, hey, check it out if you want. All you got to do is download the Xbox One drivers and not the Xbox One drivers, the Xbox One controller drivers. So all you got to do is that, and this baby should be good to go. Anyway, guys, if you liked the video, please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys later.